show us 2 different ways to do collage this afternoon. Today you're here to learn the process, not to create a masterpiece. And I'm going to turn it over to you. I do have some applications for membership for the art club if anybody's interested. I'm up here by the list. Feel free to move around and go to the bathroom, get a drink, have a snack, whatever.
Okay, well, in case you haven't guessed, the woman in black is Lydia Boddie-Rice, and I am so honored to be with you this afternoon. I know everybody's time is precious, and I really appreciate the enthusiasm to which my class, that's one of my very first ones, thanks to the IAC. I'm very excited to be with you, which I hope will become a regular routine for me. Now, there are at least 20 of you. I like, when I am teaching, I like to move. So if you need to see me for any reason, please let me know now. So if I have my back to you, it doesn't compromise anything that I might teach you. Is everybody good with me kind of walking and pacing in a circle and in a frenzy as artists do? Yes. So what I want you to also know is that collage, although the French term for collage is coller, which means to glue or to paste, collage is a messy art form. So those of you who have been pretty today, just understand that you may have a little glue. We've tried to minimize that, mostly because of the size that you'll be working with. You shouldn't get, too tacky or, really, if anything's on your clothes, you should be able to get it off with 2 sinks that are on either side of the room. Restrooms are outside of the door. Please feel free, once the class is flowing, to use the facilities. If you brought snacks, feel free to do that, to share or not share. It's really up to, I want this to be fun and comfortable for you. It is not my idea to lecture. I really want this class to be an experience and for you to understand the basics of collage. So let me just review what you should have at your tables. I'm going to start around these 2 descriptions of collage, and that really is just as a guide point. They were sent as attachments if you got the reminder email. We are not really going to go through these because, again, to me, collage is an emotional experience. Once you get into your head too much as artists, we tend to, especially in a group situation, which is why I like one-on-ones, you tend to look at what each other's doing. You tend to compare. You tend to be judgmental about what color choices you're making, whether it's positioned correctly. Collage is not that. Collage is really about the freedom of spirit as you move through it and are moved by the respective pieces that you've chosen to work with. Now, some of you are superstars because you've already brought in so many things that you're probably distracted trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to put together with what? How's it going to work? And what's it going to look like at the end? I really want you to totally, even though I want an image that speaks to you or a fabric that speaks to you, really know that it is about just the experience. I'm not going to grade. I am not going to hold up pieces of work and provide examples of an excellent student's work. That is not what this is about. So I really just want to provide you with an introduction to a medium that I have actually done since I've been a child. I didn't realize it until I actually went back to some of my old drawings, but I've always ripped things apart. I've always taken the best of the best and put it together and mixed up different mediums and really just had fun with play. So today we're going to play. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. All right. So because we do need preparation, I want to make sure everyone has a brush. Now understand the brushes are of different sizes. So those of you who are near each other and you want to swap, please do if you're not feeling comfortable with a large or a small brush. But basically, once we get to the fabric construction, you don't really, you have a 5x7 to work with. It's not going to be too traumatic for you to have the appropriate size brush. So everybody got a brush and a glue stick. Now scissors, we have a shortage of. So if you do not have scissors,
we don't have a shortage.
Are we good? Oh, and you have extra scissors. Okay.
I also have pinking shears.
Oh, I'm loving this. This is wonderful because we were imagining at about 11:15 with 3 pairs of scissors what this was going to look like. Okay. So everybody has scissors. You should have 2 5x7 canvas boards. Okay, and then you should have Mod Podge. This is this kind of white glue and water. Okay, the newsprint has been provided so that if you can stay on the newsprint with the gluing, I'm sure the library would appreciate it. But we will wipe down the tables and make sure everything's all set. Are there any questions at all? Because this has been more of an intro. Okay, so what I'd like to do is to kind of talk about how I go through the collage process. How many of you actually need fabric or need to have some print material to work with, like this? Okay, because while I am talking, I would like for you to go to the tables in the back, and you can select anything that you want of material swatches and paper swatches. So Jane is going to try to keep me on track so we can start our first activity at approximately 1/4 after, but I want to have you not agonize over it, just something that speaks to you, whether it's the color or it's just something that actually attracts your attention. Okay, so I talked about the medium. Most people, when they start out with decoupage, they start out with tissue paper. Remember, some of you might have done tissue paper collages in your elementary school classes. It's a medium that's very fragile. Usually you have to build it up. It actually works in layers, and it's probably a favorite, of art teachers to just introduce young people to the art of collage. So Mod Podge works, and that's what we have today. But Mod Podge can be extremely thick to work with. So we provided the water so that if you need to just, thin it down a little bit so that it helps you, especially with manipulating your fabric, that's what that's for. The first part of what we're going to do today is work with paper. Because working with paper is extremely different than working with fabric. But what I work with specifically is what's called medium. This is acrylic gloss gel. Looks very much like Mod Podge. As you can see, I get a gallon of it because I can really blow through it. But I love it because as I accumulate my gallons, I can put, really the thickness of the medium I want to work with in just a handy dandy bucket and take it with me anywhere. The wonderful thing about collage is you can collage anything that your mind travels to. So for instance, a good friend of mine gave me this the other day. Can anybody guess what this is?
Leaf.
Do you know what kind of leaf? It's a hosta. So what she actually did was take the medium and she applied it to the back. And I'll pass this around so you can look at it. And then worked the fabric, because the fabric becomes where you can actually move it. You can move it into the creases. You can kind of create texture with it. And this is a person that does a lot of collage work and works with 3D elements, which is what I've been moving into. And it's really, really, to me, a statement of whatever it is you see that you think you can cover with paper or fabric, you can. pretty much how it works.
Does she wet both sides, Lydia?
Yes, she did. So, what she did first was wet the back of it and create a backing so that it wouldn't fall apart. And those of you who are gardeners who know hosta, hosta is a very hardy leaf. So it's not like a rose petal, which you know is going to bruise easily and probably fall apart as you work with it. But I think anything is possible. Another thing you're used to seeing from me, and I had put some behind Jeanette at the table there, are rocks. So Antonia, can I ask you to just grab you one really quickly? Thank you, honey. Okay, so is it okay if I call you honey? I call people honey, sweetie, dear, because I can't remember their names. But I remember Antonia's name. So this is just an ordinary rock. I live at the end of Battle Terrace, so I've got the lake right at my disposal, and I do my daily walks. And I pick up rocks. Sometimes I am deliberate about the shapes that I use. Other times I just am looking for a flat surface to work with. I have come to now, because I've had so many walks on the beach, I know exactly what kind of rock it is I want to pick up. So the poor little rocks are probably like, why did you pick me?
Can I just clarify something that I didn't know? Did you say bateau?
Bateau, yeah.
So you're a block from me?
Yeah. I walked to your house and put that, yeah. I did. So,
How could I not know that?
now you know.
Now I
So,
know. You're gonna be
for
sorry,
the Pride
I know.
Festival, I actually did a bunch of Pride rocks. And I think it's really rather funny, but those of you who know I kind of started on the rock covering journey know that for me it was just a surprise that people actually were paying for them. You know, I just couldn't put that together, and certainly, you know, I'm charging $2, $5, maybe $10 for staff. But it is something that you really should look at because people spend a lot of time painting on rocks. I mean, agonizing over painting seams and just find the fabric you like. So if we have time, I will ask each of you to get a rock, and you can take this and flip it over if you'd rather, but you can because it's already prepped. You can actually take a piece of fabric and just recreate this piece. So we're hoping to come away with 3 pieces today. A way to use paper in your collages, and a way to use fabric in your collages, and then just take an ordinary material and how you can change an ordinary material and make it extraordinary, which is what artists do. Okay. Does everybody have their, oh, am I good? Good, Jay, good. Good, because I can talk. I used to make my living talking. So if I need to observe those quiet spaces.
Did you dry the leaf before did you do it?
No. No, in fact, I would highly recommend that you not. That you keep, if you're using nature, to use it in its natural state as much as possible. But I think what's nice about this is there is no wrong. There really isn't. It's all experimentation, it's all the experience, and I really want you to get you out of the non-judgmental zone and just try anything. One of my absolute most favorite people and teachers, we've been lifelong friends, our kids went to school together, and I think some of you have seen her, is Lynn Feldman. Lynn actually has been after me to become who I was meant to be, a professional artist for probably 40 years. So she, in order for me to kind of get into that non-judgmental place to which I've resided because I had too much pedigree for my own good, that just to play and to have fun, to learn something new. So I took her fabric painting class, and we'll talk more about that when we begin construction. So let's start with paper. For those of you that have an image, you can begin to cut that out. You can tear. A lot of people tear in order to really create another dimensional treatment. and I wouldn't get too crazy with making sure it follows the line. This is a picture of my cousin that I've actually done a painting of in the past. And so it just happened to work for me to begin to provide you with an example of what it is you might want to use to construct your piece. Now, this doesn't have to be the center point of your piece. You can actually rip it. So that what a lot of people do is they make decisions about what part of the image speaks to them. Whether it's a tree, or it's a flower, or it's an eye, or it's the lips, or, again, this is non-judgmental, and this is only a piece of what you're going to do. So when you are ready with your selected image, I'd like you to pick something that could serve as the background. So, for me, and I do get more of this stuff is really kind of cool. A lot of people are also using music. I did bring some music. So if you like Beethoven, I was supposed to be a concert pianist, but I kind of missed that. You know, a lot of people combine the things that they love into something that could be a final piece. So this is the piece that I would like you to put on first. I am far from a purist. I believe starting with a white blank canvas, actually can be intimidating. So I would like you to choose something to just glue on to your canvas, because that's going to be your place to start. No, not white at all. Not white. Anything not white to cover up your canvas board. Now this is what your glue sticks are for. We're not going to be using the medium until we use the fabric. Okay? That's fine. Okay, that's fine. So what Karen asked me, if I could just demonstrate, if this was okay as background. What it does is just break up your space so that you aren't starting with an intimidating area. Yeah. This will be your background. Okay, so you might want to choose something exactly, and then you might want to put that on. Exactly. Okay, are there any more questions? I'm going to actually do another demonstration with yours if I could borrow it.
Another question when you have a chance.
Yes.
This material that you want for the background, is it supposed to be flat or is it supposed to be crinkled?
I would do it flat because you're going to build on top of it. However, texture's fine. Don't worry about whether there are bubbles in it or not. You know, we can create creases. Don't work for perfection. Don't worry. Just be happy. But this is another example of, what was her name? I'm sorry. Shirley asked. She had this piece here. And originally she was going to put this on the white board, but she had this companion piece that actually will help her when she starts to do her build. She wants something that's just going to cover up the white. Thank you, Shirley.
So it should cover the whole part, or like?
You can cover, I'd like you to start covering the whole part with something. If you want to use 2 colors, you can. But I don't want to see any white junk. And again, don't worry about the perfection. Glue sticks don't actually make it so that you can do it perfectly. to be honest. Glue sticks are very tough to work with. But for the purposes of everybody's so quiet. You're working. I know you're working. You're working. Okay, so while you're actually putting on your backgrounds, the handout that is called Collage and Composition, it gives you some ideas, because sometimes, you know, we need prompts. Sometimes, you know, it's easy to get stuck and too judgmental about your work. So this will help you with, you know, thinking through what it is you may want to do. So, for instance, you can cluster images. You can put a whole bunch of things on one surface. You can create a scene. So some of you might be working with nature and trying to make a scene out of it. You can arrange your collage to look like something else. So you can actually have a red flower and you want to mimic that with another shape. Shapes are really important. A lot of people are using words now. I'm a calligrapher, so I actually use words and have used words in a lot of my compositions. So there are some fabrics up there that have words on them. There might be some images that are in the image bin that might speak to you. Some people actually cut out letters and they create their own words out of them. Quotations are something that I collect. I like to do my work and actually have a quotation that helps to speak to what that final piece is. So that's a very popular way to do things. Also with collage, also just a collage of words. You've probably seen many word collages. Again, they're really, this is about the experimentation. And what we're working on right now, of course, is the background and then whatever actually helps to complement that background. How many of you are finished with your background? So let's just check in. Got a ways to go? Okay. Awesome. Any questions at all? I'm not limiting any questions. Just while you're busy, you can ask me anything you want. Yes, Jeanette?
Where's where we put bits and pieces?
Bits and pieces, I can give you like a little cup.
I just don't want to.
Yeah, I can give you guys cups. I think we have cups, right? We do. Okay. Jeanette asked the question about bits and pieces. So if you have bits and pieces that you want to keep, Sue is getting some cups and you can put them in there. I actually have on the material table, I have just a little Tupperware tin of things that are already cut out, you know, little hearts or whatever, so feel free to take those, anything up there. Yes?
Can I add the writing or the words afterwards?
Yes, you can.
But I just didn't.
Yes, you can make, you're the boss.
So
That's
I
what
can just
Inland
put
taught me.
words. I can just put words or letters or whatever after.
Absolutely.
Afterwards. Okay.
Absolutely. And don't feel like you're going to mess up anything at all. The purpose is really to just have your background, and then we'll build on top of that. The bond patches were fabric, so we're not doing that right now. Right now, everyone is just using their glue for the paper.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Karen just asked a question about, can you collage over paint? You absolutely can. I would suggest that your paint is dry. But you can collage over paint. What you will find with fabric, and why I like working with it so much, is that you can actually paint on the fabric. So you can actually take a piece of the fabric that you want to change a color, and you can change the color totally, which I've done many, many times. In terms of type of paint, I'm still experimenting, but my favorite paint to work with fabric is oil-based, is water-based oils. The oils are richer. For me, you get more depth of color. Acrylic tends to, especially when the sun hits it after a period of time, acrylic tends to bleach out. In fact, anything related, anything with even your paper collages, etc., you know, and sun is an art killer. So those folks who actually want to put something in their sunny kitchen, it's not recommended at all, because eventually the sun will affect it. Any other questions? How are we doing? How am I doing for time? I'm good. Okay. So what the next step is to create a border. Okay, so I'd like for you to create a border by, okay, I'm going to use this as a demo. And this is a strip that's already cut. It's very exact. It's very beautiful. But you do not have to, it does not have to be a straight line. What's beautiful about paper is you can cut it in any direction. But I just want you to do one side. So don't, you know, try to frame your piece. Just to find one, the top, or the sides, or the bottom. And use paper. You have fabric, but use paper.
Maggie, I'm coming for you.
Does everybody understand that instruction? You're just going to take, here's really a nice edge. So somebody pours and use it. Okay, so this easily could be used at the top or bottom.
You know what, I didn't have enough paper that I like, so I.
You did great, so you're ahead. Oh, that's okay.
My head is, my head is.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It doesn't matter if you decide just one. One edge, a different piece of paper. Okay, one edge, different piece of paper.
Wait, we're doing just one edge.
Just one edge. I know it's hard. I know, you all are so neat.
Gluing that on too? Gluing
Yep, everything is glued on. All right, so that it doesn't matter. Your poor Jane is worried about whether her edge is straight or not. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's no worry. No worries. For those of you who are quick bunnies, you can actually cut a corner piece, which means a triangle. You can cut or tear one of the edges. So, let me demo. Okay, so this is cutting a corner. Okay? And put it somewhere else. All right, and or you can rip it. 10.
Out of a third,
Out of a third, good question. Something different. Okay? Absolutely. Nothing has to be exact. The corner. Oh, okay, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Don't struggle. Don't struggle. I'm easy. I was an easy teacher. So some of you should be on your third piece, which is kind of a new regular triangle that's going to fit in a corner. Any corner you want. Different piece of paper. You guys are good.
How big should that corner be?
As big as you want. As big as you want. You don't have to judge it at all.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh. That'll be your next picture.
No, only glue sticks, only glue. Okay, for those of you,
This is fabric.
it's okay. And for those of you who are using fabric, it's okay, but I want two separate pieces. One that's filled with paper and one that's filled with fabric. But it's okay, because those of you who are mixing, honestly, that's what you do. You can do anything you want. You're the boss of you. You're instructor. I'm just trying to add some structure so that you can also get a feel for how paper works. All right, so for those of you who have your corners in, just as an experiment, try to actually move it. Can you move it? No, you can't. Or it's very difficult. So with paper, you need to know that once you glue it down, even with a glue stick, it's not going anywhere. It makes it really, really difficult. Whereas what you'll find with fabric is that as long as it's wet, you can pick it up and move it wherever you want. Okay? Okay. All right, so now comes your main image. So I take your main image and find a place for it. I'm not going to tell you where to put it. Let your heart speak to where to go. So your main image is going to be positioned in a place that helps you feel like you're arriving toward completion.
This is
Okay. If that's what you want to have showing,
Yeah.
then you can actually take some smaller pieces
And
just kind of frame it out. Okay?
Yeah.
Anybody else start as the background with their main image?
This is paper too? Paper.
Everything's paper. Yep. Yes. Okay. So that's fine. So what you can do is you can play with your corners, because you want the focus part to be your main. Okay. So if you have, for instance, Barb, can I demo here? Okay. So Barb has actually created her central image out of these pieces. Okay, so what she wanted to know was, well, this is my main thing, so what do I do? So the nice thing is she's got opportunity with corners, you've got an opportunity with the side, you can create your own border, you can even cut out, Barb, because I know you're an artist, you can cut out shapes and just begin to just make sure that this coveted space is protected and you are using those shapes or strips or nothing. You may like it the way that it is to keep it the purity of it. If you feel it's done, it's done. We only know as artists when our piece is done, really, and I do say that purely because many artists talk about overworking their pieces. How many artists talk about that? Right. So, you know, there needs to be a place where you let go. And only you know that let go place. You can have all kinds of critics telling you that, you know what, you need to put the blue over here or put this over here. But if you are not feeling that in your particular heart space, I highly recommend that even though we as teachers might make a recommendation, that you go with your heart space. Because that's what's going to make the work really come alive. Because it's coming directly from you.
And that's very good, Lydia, because I've been surrounded teachers that make me feel so stupid and everything.
Oh, well, I don't want you to have that experience, so I'm glad you're not. I had actually, I'm traumatized by an 8th grade art teacher I had. 8th grade, so you know that's a real trauma. But I was agonizing over this canvas. I had like a, you know, young art student chosen a very irregular canvas. I did not want, you know, the typical 8 by 10, so I chose something like a 10 by 30 or something ridiculous. But I agonized. I went everywhere from doing like a botanical to just a range of topics. I was not getting the piece done for my class. I was not. So my teacher thought that the solution was to take my painting, to take a palette knife and acrylic paint and do my painting for me. So her good intentions traumatized me so for life. Because, but what it did, because I always like to try to take away the best lessons from each of that experiences, is that in her helping, she actually taught me that there are places in which I have to let go and move on. So it was a good life lesson, and my mother has that painting. She thought it was great. Good for mothers, right? Mothers love your stuff. Okay, how are we doing? Good. All right, so now, let me just suggest, because someone actually asked whether they could put words on their piece. I would say if you're so inclined, feel free to do that, or a letter. Feel free to have some kind of identifier because we have it available, and if not, and it's done, then it's done. If you are done, please sign and date it. That's another thing as artists we do not do. Yes, oh, you're blue. That's another thing as artists that, you got it? Anybody else need retrieval? But that's another thing that we really, many times, it took me a long time to sign my work. And so I highly encourage it because also it's a time stamp. So you can go back and see the date in which you've done it, and if you continue to do collage, this would be your first, your next collage. You know, you're building your experience. You're building your knowledge base. So again, it's not anything that I am requesting of you because you're going to go out and sell it, and people need to know who they're selling it to. It's just for you to own it. So, good luck. Wonderful. You can. Are you in a space where you feel good about where you are? Like, do you want to do more to it?
I think I'd like to do a little bit more to it.
Okay, then you can. I don't have any further instruction in terms of kind of doing the build to your piece. If you're at a good finishing point, I would suggest that I am a person that likes borders, you know, to try to frame it out somehow. Try to add something wonderful. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Yes, sir, that's what I'm getting to. So in fact, I probably need to, not with these, but I think everything is not wet, so I can put it down. Okay, so I'm going to give you about another 3 minutes. And then we'll work toward an exciting reveal. It's my secret plan, which man plans, God laughs, right? So, I think I'm on schedule here.
Lydia, can you actually like code this if you want, so it's.
You can, you actually, that's what you can use the Mod Podge for, but once we move into the, once we actually move into doing our fabric pieces, what Karen had asked whether or not you could use the Mod Podge to kind of put a coating on your piece, and you can. But just know that it'll be wet, that's what the bags are for. What Mod Podge also does, it seals your image, and it also gives you a finish. So I would not put, you can work on top of it, you can continue to do a build, but that's completely arbitrary, you don't have to do that, you don't have to do it right now. I love gloss, I really do, I think matte is kind of, for me, a waste of, I like having the, especially if you're working with textures, which I know you do, you want to be able to have like the light be able to play with, you know, with your surface. So yeah, I'm not as fond of the matte finish. Just so that those of you who missed Antonia's question, she asked whether or not I prefer a matte finish. Does everyone know what a matte finish is? Or a gloss finish. I happen to like gloss a lot better. It picks up the light, particularly I work with textures. Even with paper, you know, you're going to get that really nice play that the matte just doesn't provide. And it's the same thing when you paint a room, right? You know, there's the semi-gloss, gloss, all kinds of different finishes. But I really like to have the gloss for that reason. How are we doing? Good. You guys are good. Oh, you're happy. I want to see happy smiles. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm really glad actually that you all are moving along so well, because I did want to give you an opportunity to do the rocks. That was a throw-in. So we will have time. You guys are so quick. That's really awesome. I'm going to, how much time do the folks of you that are still working need? Because I don't want to push you. 2 or 3 hours. I love that. That means you're really like 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes. Okay. For those of you who are done, feel free to wander, and you can also look at fabric, the fabric table. That's helpful. They're sorted by color or theme, and you can take anything. I'm not going to say, no, you can't have that. I didn't mean to put that to bed.
Too busy.
Sometimes I've done where I put the glue up too far and the glue pops out.
Look at you guys. If I wanted to put this on top,
You can use is this for your fabric piece, or do you want to send this for public?
It's mine.
I would use although I tried it doesn't work.
Those are for taking them in your web project.
The plastic bags are for taking home your wet projects, just to make it easier for you to transport it with the, did you, the tail?
How are we doing? Good? Yeah. I gotta borrow some scissors. I gave mine away.
Yeah, so, yeah, you don't get a shirt.
I need to borrow some of your shears because I gave mine away.
Oh, sure, sure. This one's in. So this I want because I actually want to.
You've been here all along?
Yeah, I've been sitting here.
I said to Barbara, I'm on today.
Yeah, I just do the recording. Sometimes I participate, not today.
All right, well, looks like everybody's done, yes? Is everybody done? 7 minutes, tick-tock?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, so, what Sue and I thought would be exciting to try is, we've all been working as individuals on a piece that is a collection of impressions or experiences of who we are, but as individuals. So what we would like to do, and if your piece is wet, we'll figure it out, but we would like to take one image of everyone's all together, because that is truly collage. I don't want you to think about, oh, this person has flowers, so I should be next to the person who has people. We want this to be as random as it was when you sat next to each other. So what I think we're going to do, Sue, right, is use carpet or floor.
I think the light, where the light's bright here would be good. Don't partake in an image.
Okay. So what I'd like to start, if I could, at this end. Can I start with you? Yeah. Okay, and we'll go around the table one by one and just place your piece next to the other piece. If we have 20, I'm thinking we should have 5 per row.
Are we doing rows?
Yes. Yes. So we're going to do rows. And we may rearrange them, so don't get wedded to your site. Don't say that's my spot, because it may move. So we'll start with you. And you're number 1. She's going to start us out. And please show your piece first. Just hold it up and show everybody.
Oh, the camera is not getting it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, yeah. He said he had to leave. Or
I'll move on.
oh, is it going? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. The next person who's ready, I don't want to push you, you can go. No, we've got plenty of time, because I'm watching the clock there. We're good. We've got time. Okay, here's James, everyone. Yeah. Well, we don't know. We want to see. We want to see. Put it where you think it goes.
I just put it there.
But we are doing Japanese portraits for now. But you never know. When Sue and I take the final piece, it might be portrait or landscape. We don't know. It could be. Okay, where's my third person? Oh, yep. Okay, Karen. Yeah, Karen, very nice.
Could be a landscape row.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen.
Somebody vertical and somebody horizontal.
No, we want them all to line up. Yep, I'm ready, Gwen. Here you go. I know the teacher says portrait. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Gwen. Next person. Thank you, Barb. Oh, and Barb signed hers already.
So Barb, did you already find?
Nope, it's all paper. If it is wet, let us know because we want to put something underneath it, so it won't slip through the carpet. Get it off. That's perfect. Thank you, Barb. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so, no, go right ahead, Susan. Okay. So Susan, okay. He wanted you to
Here.
show you toward camera.
Come over until you can see it in the
I know,
camera.
I didn't know it was gonna be a
Well,
production.
there's gonna be a picture of it on the ground.
You
so
will? All
There'll be
right.
a photo.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. So you'll be the first start of the next row.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Alrighty, next. Awesome. Well, we don't know, you're going to lay in portrait for now. There we go. Okay, that's all right, that's beautiful.
You know what, I never thought of it.
Okay, be sure to show everybody so that they can see. All right, class is getting unruly. Class is getting unruly. We need to. What did you see? I know. What's your freedom to express yourself?
Have you read it?
I lent it to Sue.
Awesome, very good.
I know, yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't read it.
this is keep calm and express yourself. A little bit of an oxymoron, right?
So yours
Yours
is,
Awesome.
I guess they all have to be oriented.
Okay, Shirley, showing her, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, horizontally, mine. I mean, hers is vertical.
And see, some of you,
Oh, right,
making,
that's what I'm
making
saying.
judgments about, well, mine's horizontal, it's not portrait. So, you know, that's what random is about.
I love
Okay. Look at how cool. Awesome. You guys are stars. Okay, we need more. Oh, this is awesome. Very nice. I like that. And I can see that. Yep, be sure to show the camera.
It's over here.
It's over here.
It's okay, over here. Just so you can, yeah, perfect. Thanks.
show the camera.
Okay, I have 13. We've got 7 more people. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah, show the camera. Okay. And then we go this way?
Oh, yes. All right, 6 more people. All right, 6 more people. Awesome. Okay, we're up to 15. I need 5 more people. Okay, thank you, Antonia. Awesome. Okay, sit down. Perfect. So you can start the next row. Top or bottom, doesn't matter. Good where you are. They have to follow you when you start a row.
I didn't have an idea, that's my problem.
Awesome.
For the camera.
Perfect.
But there might be further. Okay. Right ahead, Sam.
Is it torn?
And Jeanette.
So what do I do? Just
You show it to the camera.
You can show it there if you want it on display. There you go. Beautiful.
It's not going the way my brain is going.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's opposite.
Okay, now what?
Now just go on the floor out there.
Oh, and you edited all that.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys are awesome. Look at what a collective. Okay, we have 21, so we've got 20 here. We have one more.
One more is walking.
Oh, this is awesome.
Hey, Maggie.
So, Maggie, since you're the lucky 21,
Huh?
you can place your portrait or landscape on one of these borders, wherever you'd like. The Piazza Rizzoli. Wherever you would like.
Lydia, are you gonna post, can you put mine?
Yes, I Beautiful. You all need to give yourselves a hand. This is the first part of the collage experience. So I hope that you learned something here. That as one person, you could create as many small collages and put them together to make one piece or multiple pieces. So I want you to think differently about what people tell you is really an art form. So we will post this online for sure, but I want you to all know that your energy, you're bringing your wonderful energy to this central experience. You know what, even if the light goes off, if you take the lights off, then you won't get the glare. It's the shadows. Yeah. No, we've got 21. You were the 21. 21. Yeah, you were the 21. So if everyone wants to just kind of take this experience in, feel free to do that. And we'll just take a little break for a minute. And prepare for the next canvas.
You had us, we're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Because you had your break started.
Yeah, I'm
at
way, well, but I'm
1:15.
going to try to do the rock.
Oh, okay.
So that's a good thing. I like being ahead rather than behind. And I also know that sometimes, Sue said sometimes people leave around the 2-ish mark, so I wanted people to get enough of a start on the day.
How are things going?
Yeah,
I still remember the day we sat painted, they were pressing phone page, we getting closer.
Now, my advice would be to take pictures from every side, because it's a unique piece of art on each side. There is no direction. Just because Magic 21 here defines, you know, a possible, this is the orientation of the piece. It really, and everybody can see themselves in this.
And I swear to God, actually when I started, and I thought this is together, and trying to get a little snaps to the hair, and you're saying, you know, I didn't know. They got everything. That's what they said. And she's like, right.
It really bothers me.
Sticking
We
out.
all need those. We all need those.
Well,
in
the
our lives.
other thing is,
Oh,
it's
yeah, we do. Oh, yeah, you want it? This is so pretty.
you're right, you're all going this way now. Yeah.
Okay,
Three by seven.
all right,
You're
can I
changing it
at
up?
least get a picture of
Yeah.
these, and then if you want to play for until 1:15, then we can reorient them. I'm good with that. I just want to try to get.
I can get to know.
Okay, I got
It's
this
gonna
side.
take a whole room.
Excuse me. Now, for those of you who have iPhones, I'm not an Android girl, so there are many ways. Like I'm not I'm focusing on a simple image, but there are many ways to correct the image so that you're not getting flat with all kinds of editing tools that you can use to actually make it look brighter, And actually, to orient you if you want. The tricks of the item. Yes. I got all mine, so let's play. Let's play. So you can play until 1:15, and then we're going to start our fabric. For those of you who need fabric, please get your swatches from the back table.
Time to get a cricket.
Oh, we'll be posting that to well, on the
You know, that's really funny because I've been windows and almost all my life except for 10 square feet.
I mean,
Here's my
you know,
wife
because
talk,
they have the mail.
and she has an Apple store. And everybody's
Great.
intuitive. If I go to an Apple machine, I have to get it all. It depends on what you do.
No, I think we have everybody is good enough.
I found it more intuitive except for
Oh.
that's I've always
It's something, isn't it? It's a journey. It's a journey. You have to have the real.
Where do I hang my apron?
Yeah.
Why is it like 40 years? Well, I always have a rubber board.
I do like it, yeah.
How much you want?
And some of it is.
I like the brush.
I know it's a skate.
Well, especially
Just the
people
basics,
older.
turning on, turning on.
I really wanted to go into architecture.
Just keep that the same. Every time I go there,
My wife teaching for 30 years, it's a mantra I heard from her and all the teachers comments. It's flying at me. It's hard to learn the software.
I mean, now the basic is there.
Yeah.
And now you just add it. Like right now, my phone, we had yesterday. That's what it is. So, I go to Google, I say, how do I do readings and numbers? Because Sarah got to miss this.
What did that choice do?
Oh, it's not a choice.
Sometimes, yeah, it's just called the building options.
So they're playing
Company.
Three by six,
They're not gonna do it.
but they're still not doing vertical and horizontal.
I got them to do that with one of my colleagues.
You're doing well.
They're not all gonna be in the same station.
How do I turn on?
Whatever.
Makes me happy. Whatever makes the collage happy. This gets my blood pressure.
Yep, I hear you.
If I had planned ahead, I would have brought some stuff.
But I think that's good because I think when you bring your own stuff, sometimes you get tied to your.
Yeah.
And this way, you know, it just opens it up to whatever.
Receive a call, I don't have a college to myself. How many years from closest to this?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into a long conversation.
With Lynn, yeah, Lynn opened up a I will. Well, you know, it's funny because, you know, we work so differently. And, you know, she will build with 50 feet. And I'm like, no. But the trick is sometimes questions,
I know, I
then
almost
you have
had
to
to canvas on
be
my
very
back.
careful that it doesn't bubble.
Because I wasn't sure if it's.
The larger.
So I was just, whereas if you use the smaller ones, you have a lot more material. You know, but I give a credit to hang on the wall, it's hard to hide.
Yeah, but I love it. You know, my mom's
Gesso it, so now it's probably collage art. No matter what's on there, right? So for $8 I got
part of my heritage.
So do you need? Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Why are you busy?
Well, I think we do. We're from the time we're in school, we're done. You know, it's right, it's wrong, it's an A, it's a fail. And I really like to try to remove that. You know, class. Because once you get into judgment, then you're gonna stay safe. You're not gonna explore.
Or, you know, trees have to be green.
Exactly, exactly. I was never a blue sky girl. No. For sure. Yeah, but I'm so glad you're here because I love my Helen. I love my Helen. Okay, we are going to get started with our fabric soon. So for those of you who have left your beautiful clutches on the floor, if you could retrieve those and just kind of get yourself set to do their next.
Which one will you retrieve?
It might be the person that you're removing. It doesn't matter, sign front or back, but at least sign and date it. Okay.
Some of it.
Do you need
There's a
more?
garbage can right behind you.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I would,
Well, I think you're recycling.
I know most of mine. Yours is all.
You may need to reglue this.
Yeah, I do it 8 times.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Which one is?
This one I covered it, I think we should do.
glad actually you said that because, yeah. All right, it is 1:15. My class, I hope that was enough of a break. All right, so working with fabric, you're going to find is an entirely different experience. So I talked earlier about being able to pretty much cover everything with fabric. I know some people, in fact Lynn is one of them, where she has covered walls of her home in fabric. It really is
the new wallpaper in many respects. I know I did cutouts of favorite fabric that I had, and that's in the back room. So it really is, again, to where you feel safe. Because you can always peel it off, that's the nice thing too. You can always like slap it on and then just take it off before it dries. So I wanted to show you a demonstration piece. Probably, how many of you remember the Maxfield Parish exhibit that came to the Memorial Art Gallery? Well, that particular exhibit was, you know, pretty profound for me because I was just starting to re-enter, you know, the world of collage, and the Memorial Art Gallery was asking, you know, specifically for pieces that they could show in their gift shop along, you know, with the Maxfield Parish exhibit. So I want to talk to you about the fabric process because a lot of times we think that we need to work with quilt fabric. Cottons are usually best. I will highly recommend cotton. But, you know, we're thinking in terms of quilters. My mom's a quilter. So my mom has reams and reams and reams of fabric that I will never use. I mean, it's beautiful, but I will never use it because of what I do with my compositions. So that what I did in preparation for the Maxfield Parish was Google Maxfield Parish fabric. Lo and behold, oh my God, they had panels that you could buy, and they also had companion fabric that you could buy. And generally when I'm working, I work with standard sizes, so I never get bulk, you know, like of fabric, and I don't get yards of fabric. I generally work with quarter yards of fabric. That's pretty much all you need, unless you're really a fabric hoarder and you, you know, really want specific fabric. I do recommend that you see something online that you really, really love and you think you may, you know, want to repeat some work with it, is to get a yard. But generally, by the time you use a yard of material, you're sick of it anyway. So this particular piece is interesting because it was part of a panel piece, which I wanted to have some depth to it. I wanted it to have some structure. And the fabric on its own, as you can see, is extremely thin. And Tony and I were talking earlier about some fabrics that you might choose actually fray very, very easily. Again, cotton fabric, you know, 100% cotton works really the best. But what you can do to stem the fraying, particularly like this is an edge that I wouldn't want necessarily to do that, then you can actually use the medium on the back of it, just flip it over, let it dry, and it just adds structure. This is actually canvas. So this is, you can see where I ripped the staples. I ripped it right off of the frame, but you know, you can order canvas and you can, I tend to use everything in my studio, so nothing goes to waste. So if I have a very bad painting or something I'm not happy with, then guess what? Something like this kind of occurs. So what's nice again about the fabric is that you have just the canvas. Just imagine just the canvas. You soak it with the medium, and by soak I just mean use a heavy coating of the medium. You'll get a feel for that as we're working on your canvas boards today, and you apply your fabric. So already I have something that has structure. I'm doing a lot more three-dimensional work, as some of you know. That's how I create structure. So those of you saw the kites that I'm working on that are now at Birchfield Penny. Those kites, I worked on the tails for 2 weeks because I needed to make sure they had structure, that they would hold up when they're suspended. You all saw them flat. They weren't meant to be flat. They're meant to actually fly. So what I like about this also, I was sharing with Antonia, is because this really has a transparency to it. And I'll pass this around so you can look at it more closely. But if you overlay it, you actually get the peekaboo. So in a lot of my work, you'll see that play on what's behind it. So if there's any thinking about when you are working with fabric, you might want to think about that. Do I have fabric that is more transparent? I would, silks are lovely, but silks be patient with, because they generally slip and they're difficult to work with, but they can actually add a really nice sheen to a piece, and they can actually add, you know, an element of surprise. So mixing fabrics is okay. You were asking me about adding a felt piece. I have worked with felt or upholstery fabrics. Those have very dense structures. So know that they'll look good on a piece, but if you apply the medium or glue over it, it's not gonna look so pretty. So you just need to understand that what you get by using, you know, fabric that can actually handle the medium is a lot different than if you're going to build textures. But those can be your embellishments, those can be your decoration. I've used ribbon, I use beading, I use all kinds of things to add on. After I have my initial piece done, that's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to stop just with what you built on the canvas. You can actually create even more excitement by adding something fresh, adding something new, adding something that no one's ever thought of before. So I'll start this around so that you can see this, but this actually, for me, was validating because the piece that I put together, I entered into the ROCO, the members show. It was my very first show, and I won the George Eastman Award for it. So it was just experimentation. No one had done anything like that before, and it started with something I didn't even draw. I'm a trained illustrator, so for me, I was a purist. I gotta draw it. You know, nobody's gonna believe me if I start, you know, using photographs or images, or, you know, we still are very judgmental in some ways about artists and art and fine art, and I've gotten to the point where I don't care, because I know I can draw, but I don't want to. I don't want to spend weeks and months on a portrait when I can use a photograph and push the paint in, change the colors, you know, create a montage, you know, of fabric and images and textures that no one's ever done before. That to me is something that just speaks to who I am instead of me trying to be who somebody wants me to be. So that's what you need to think about as artists. Who am I, and how am I speaking through this piece, rather than doing it, you know, for the purpose of someone buying it or someone liking it. Because if you love it, generally people do. So we're gonna start out the same way with our little canvas board, and I'm gonna ask you to get your brushes out and open your medium. Now, generally, with paper, we don't have to worry as much about our scissors as we do with fabric. So I just ask you to take special care if the scissors that you have are not your own today, because once you glue and are cutting pieces that have glue on them, you know you're going to get glue on the scissors themselves. So my recommendation, if you are going to use fabric, medium or Mod Podge or anything that has glue in it, do not care about it. You don't use your good paintbrushes. Don't, you know, these brushes are really wonderful. You know, again, it doesn't matter what size. If you have a large brush and you're ready to just use a small, we can, you know, swap them out, or you all have been very good about sharing you know, let's use our collective resources to help each other. So, what have we learned from Lydia today about the canvas board, the white canvas board? What have we learned? To cover it, absolutely. So, what I'd like you to do is to cover it with 3 different fabric choices. If you can. If you have one and you're happy with that, that's okay. But I'd like you to experiment with creating a background that has 3 different treatments. Once you get your pieces cut, just put them aside. You're really good. She's where to go. Yeah. So what? Jerry. What Jerry's getting ready to do is once you have your fabric choices, you're going to want to wet your board. So you're going to want to put your glue on first. If it's a little too thick, you can dip your brush in water, but what you want to do is have it totally covered. And then you can apply your fabric. Then once your fabric is cut to size, Lydia, or wrapped around. You can wrap it around the back if you'd like, but no, once you wrap it around the back and it dries, it's going to be difficult to move it. So if you cut your background fabric flush, then you have the opportunity to cut out the corners, but there's no wrong way to do it, okay? I'm using this piece as an example because once you actually have your medium on, then you're going to take your piece and you're going to just use your hands. This is where it gets messy, folks. So if you don't like that, remember we do let the water, you can clean up a little bit. I happen to kind of find it therapeutic to pick the glue off my hands. So, but what you're going to do is actually spread it so that it's flat. If you end up with a bubble, not to worry. I don't want you to stress over it because sometimes we want to build that in. But right now I'd like you to make it flat, which means you'll have to work the fabric in. You're going to have to press out the bubbles with your finger. A lot of times we use tools like an edge, like what do you call it, squeegee type to press it out. Yeah, you have such a small surface or a brayer. There you go. You guys are awesome. Yes, Jeanette? Okay, Jeanette asked about other people's images, about using other people's images, which I do often. You need to have permission, especially if you are looking to sell your pieces. I have a release that I generally get if anybody needs a form to kind of use that. If I'm using family, I already know I have permission, so I'm good. But generally, that's how you would handle it. And then the rule of thumb is, I'm working on kind of a celebrity collage now, which is Naomi Osaka. My mentor, Levon Shepard, who's a professor emeritus at RIT, he said, don't worry about the celebrity images or any images if you're using less than 70% of it. So I'm using like a window of her face. So there are all kinds of rules of thumb, but generally if you, especially because I use images that I upload to a fabric printing site to be printed, they will ask you specifically if you have permission to use the image. Now it's not that they're going to come after you, or you wouldn't be uploading it if you don't, but just know that it's intellectual property that you could be liable for. But if I get that big and I'm on that scale, I'll worry about that in that part. So just for your own safety, just ask permission.
So do you know that the background is okay if they overlap?
Yes, it is. It is okay if they overlap. When you put down your fabric, try not to be too perfect about it, but know that the glue, you can pick it up and move it around. So if you put it down, it's not quite where you want it to be, then pick it up and move it to where you want it to. It's so different from paper. Yeah.
What's that like?
I went and got some, but I didn't realize strips. Well, I might have to.
The Met just sent out an ad for membership and it has the date on the envelope. So you wanna rip that envelope up and use it, so, but you're using the membership, you know, we all know it's a bar.
I think honestly, if it is just a hint of homage to that artist, you're okay. But if you're totally replicating it, totally using it in its full form, like if I were to use that lady, that Maxwell Parrish, I would be in trouble. You know,
So your piece.
I would be in trouble using it.
Yeah.
So that's why I did, but if I used her head, or if I used her lips, or if I used the deco around it,
Yeah.
then you're good. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome.
Now, did you say?
I thought you did use it, that's why I was asking.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I was playing, well, I use it for demos now.
Yeah.
I use her for demos now, because I
Just a
can't.
few little demos.
Yeah, no, Parish police would come after me. Yeah.
One piece for the background, as we did with that?
No, I love it if you could use 3, but 1 is fine, I just want it covered. Yeah. 3 was recommended, but 1 is fine.
I can tell some of you are quilters. Okay, awesome.
I'm gonna give you a few more minutes to get your background so that you're happy. I hear ripping, I love hearing ripping, it's good. It's all good. So, I'm gonna pull up some other, like some fabrics, just so. And you can, because some of you have done it, you can mix paper, you know, and the fabric. It's just, to me, I wanted to have 2 separate experiences, but if you're feeling so advanced, feel free. You can do that. It's all right. Yeah. It is okay.
Actually,
I think to thin it if you wanted to thin it out.
I think she said to paint the canvas. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
With the glue.
Okay, so this is a fabric that I used, it's kind of whimsical. Actually, good fabric store. I do a lot online, and believe it or not, I think sometimes, you know, we think, oh my God, I can't really see the color. I don't know if it's really gonna be what I want it to be. Order a test swatch. A test swatch is usually, you know, 5 by 5 inch piece. It's not quite a fat quarter. Fat quarters are 21 by 21. And so then you can get a piece of it instead. So I will do that. But I really found that the online, what you see, because they're running their business online, is pretty true to what you're going to get. So you can trust it more than you think. But one of the most wonderful places is at Jackie Lynn's, which is, they're wonderful on Ridge Road. They have so many fabrics and they're just lovely people. So I would highly recommend, if you need to do any fabric shopping or you're so inclined to add to your stash, that would be a great place to go. So one of actually the fabrics that I've used quite a bit is this one. This one actually, I really love the whimsy of it, and I've actually used this with some of my own illustrations, and I've made what you call minis. But it has lots of opportunities for cutouts. It has the birds, it has the butterflies, it has the worms. You want to begin to accumulate fabric that gives you opportunities for expression. So, you know, it's really, and you can create recreate this material. So, okay, this is a, you know, commercially retailed fabric that's designed by somebody else, but you can make it your own by taking the pieces of it or adding companion fabric or painting over it and reinventing it. And I think that's what many of my artist mentors are saying. You know, the power of reinvention takes you into the place of innovation and not duplication. You're not copying another artist. You're reinterpreting what another artist has done. So a number of people have asked, why don't I copyright my process? It is because I'm not worried about who can do it. I really am not. My place as an artist is to be able to share the intellectual property that I have with others, and if they improve upon that, then that's great. It does not concern me about registering or copywriting a process that actually I can't find mentors for. I don't know how it is going to play out over time. All of the pieces that some of you have seen and you love, I don't know what they're going to look like 20 years from now. No, I'm experimenting. I do not know. And so because of that, you're learning along with me. I'm learning from other people so that I can perfect that process. And we all know that with art forms, sculpture, things can break. Paintings, I'll tell you a very sad story. I hope I don't cry because of this, but I have done a beautiful painting for my cousin's daughter, 21st birthday. Collage with her grandfather. It was beautiful. If I say so, it was beautifully done. Well, she was in a domestic dispute. Ex took a knife and slashed through my canvas. No. And broke the frame. So she calls and says, "Can you fix it?" And I'm like, no. But I had an iPhone image of it and was able to send it to a printer that I used, and so we created another canvas out of that. So I highly recommend you take pictures of your work. So, you know, it really, you never know what's going to happen to your stuff. You just don't know. That was a shock, I'll tell you that. So, you know, treat everything with reverence and with learning, and, you know, just know that on the shoulders that I stand have been many people before me. And I suspect there are going to be, especially once I start teaching at RIT, there's going to be brilliance. So, you know, you can kind of get stuck in your own stuff. And I'm not all that great. I'm just having fun. Okay, how are we doing with getting our backgrounds on? Are we good? Okay, so for those of you who are done, I want you to select a piece that you are actually going to get very wet with the medium. I want you to work it with your fingers. I want you to just, you know, if we had buckets, you would soak them in the glue. But I want you to create a three-dimensional element in your piece. Okay, so ultimately what you want to do, and you can do this with paper, you cannot do it with tissue, you can try, but I have found a workaround with tissue, and that just like the fabric I described, you can actually put 2 to 3 layers of a napkin or a piece of tissue paper to give you the thickness. So you're just going to take a strip or a piece of, something like that, but you're going to soak it. Or with your brush, just put glue on the front of it and put glue on the back of it. And then just kind of work the glue in with your fingers.
So one of the fabrics you've already used or something else?
Well, it's up to you. Repetition can be really good, but I would choose something different. Just choose a fabric that, you know, either complements or, you know, is in opposition to what you're doing. Yeah, you're going to get messy. You're going to get messy. Awesome. Soak up your piece, soak up your piece. Oh, okay. Oh, you got a little Monet going there.
They would just keep working and then just put it up. How you like it?
Yep, so, once, you're gonna wanna have an anchor. So, once you decide where you're gonna put it, what I mean by that is, you can start, say, like a shoes. And then anchor it, and then kind of, just like that. Okay?
Any way you want.
Any way you want. Yeah. And if you want some of it to stay flat, you can, but, you wanna create,
This stuff's dry clear.
you wanna create some texture. It just,
It's just.
yeah, this is,
I'm used to using the medium.
you're gonna shine.
I know.
Oh, you want some more?
Did you find those or did you bring those?
Yes.
Found them.
Good question. Does this dry clear? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
You will have shiny fingers. You will be able to peel it off your fingers, but it will shine clear. Yeah. Does anybody need more glue? Because I know now we're getting to manipulating the fabric. So, okay, you got it all gooey. So gooey. So you want to anchor it somewhere. Yep. Just mush it.
So I get this all gooey and I put it down like this.
What you're gonna want to choose an anchor point. Okay, so there's been some questions about how to get that piece, so that you can kind of create texture. You're going to want to, once it's soaked, find an anchor point. So by anchor, I mean just place it on your canvas. Doesn't matter, wherever you want. Okay, so because remember, if you don't like it there, you can pick it up and move it around. So here's your anchor, and then you're just going to kind of mush it in whatever way you want with your fingers. Okay, and you might have to, along the way, use your brush to kind of tack it down.
I see.
You see what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, you might have to. Exactly. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, anybody else need some?
This one's for weddings. It's in my purse. How cool.
You might need something maybe more sheer. Let me see if I can find something.
Get your hands to doesn't matter.
If it's not sticking, use your fingers, apply more glue. That's going to happen. Why I want you to use different fabrics, as you can see, they're different consistencies. I have to tell you, polyesters, knits, those generally don't work as well. They can work, but you really, really have to soak the fabric. So when you're playing, know that just as kind of when you go to sew a quilt, or you go, that's why quilters use cotton. They're not mixing it up with burlap, or they're not mixing it up with different kinds of fabric because it does different things. So you'll eventually find what works for you. So Jeanette, I think I was going to get you guys more glue, and I'm going to try to kind of shear.
I can't push it. Well, that's just.
Does anybody else need more glue? Was it you tonight? Are you good? Anybody else need more glue? You guys are good? Okay. Like in here, you could
play. Just play. And then I'll walk around with this piece again, but again, see how you can get, I mean, the wrinkles really make this work. This is a skirt. So once you start working with some of the themes of your pieces, you may want to interpret clothing. I know I have done that, where I actually have built a shirt, an actual shirt. You know, so there's lots that you can do when the fabric is wet. Yeah. Cool. I know, poor yard wet. Well, it might be the weight. It might be the weight, so try it with the layer weight fabric. Might be the weight. But it might be okay to, I'm trying to think, that might be like a Gorilla Glue first.
I want to offer a suggestion that I have discovered. You know the cheap plastic kind of sponges, you can buy them in a block and slice them off, or, you know, do like a scrubby, but they're just plasticky. If you load them up with soap, and you use it to wash your hands, it takes everything off and it doesn't hurt your hands. It takes the glue off, it takes the warm water soap.
Karen has got a clean up hint trick, so try it again.
You know the plastic sponges, the plasticky kind of scrubby sponges? I mean, you can buy them in a brick and slice them. I mean, they're really cheap. I got a big brick on Amazon and sliced it up and lasted me 2 years, you know, but I put soap on that and warm water, and it doesn't hurt your hands. You can scrub your hands for 10 minutes. It doesn't take the skin off, but it takes the glue off and the paint off, and it works really well.
Thank you.
I don't know about this.
How do you really feel, Sharon?
Huh?
How do you really feel?
What?
How do you really feel? That's what she's. I love it.
There you go. Great. Awesome. Give you a little bit of reading going. Very nice. This is great. Look at you with your little scene. I like this. This is awesome. There, you did it.
I had it, yep.
Yeah, you just kind of have to find that sweet spot where where it starts holding.
She's gonna smooth it out.
And this will dry clear, so you know that
I don't know how that would work. I might want to try it. I know the suede. I don't know if you could get enough of the medium in there. You know, it might like, you know, when it dries, it might flake off. But I would try it.
Maybe they do that when they
Oh, well, if you were using it as a background,
Yeah, no, I
would work. And then you could just build your fabric on top of it. Yeah, I've done that before. I just use the medium. The medium really takes. Yeah, and for leather, I definitely would use the medium strength. I wouldn't water it down. Yeah, no, that's fine. But for the leather that you were talking about.
I've never done it.
But that was fun. I want you to make more. You are. You are. And I think what's so nice about working with tiny pieces is you guys can have your own 5x7. Like 6x6 revisit. Yeah, we've got 5x7. We're the 5x7.
6x6. This is a canvas board.
Right. Well, you can put it on a regular stretch, you can't find it.
put it on like cardboard.
No, you do.
Yeah.
But thank you for showing up.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Take care.
It needs something.
Oh, do you want to take a rock?
No, I one time was sitting around the parking lot, my son was very.
Maybe more. Yeah, when I get home.
So I picked it up, then I had to go to the library, I didn't know the shit by the staff was dropping it over and telling me what it looked like. It turned out really good. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Do you ever use a hairdryer?
You probably could, but I think for me, I don't want it to dry right away because I may decide to change it. And as long as it's wet, you can pick it up or you can add to it. Once it dries, it's really hard to remove. So that's the only reason I work on probably 4 or 5 pieces at a time. You know, because I'm going from one piece to another. And I get bored. I'm joking today.
Blue in the order. Well, I don't know, I'm just getting very blunt, so we'll see what dry it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that does keep you. No. Thanks, yeah. It's one of my latest. One of my latest. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, me too. Now, I painted over this. So all that background, I painted it right up. And this is all fabric. It's all fabric.
So that's your photo on fabric.
It's my photo on fabric. This is, so this is all fabric. So, but I painted all of this out. The background was horrible. So I painted that all out. Yep, so I put it on fabric and I go in and I paint it. Yeah, it's all printed, but then I paint. And so I create the images online. So I do a lot of digital work. So I might use, this is like 3 different photographs. And then so composition is like really important to me. And I got permission from her to use her. So I created the composition and then sent to her and says, it's okay, you know, can I proceed and do what she's ecstatic. I use spoon flower. Yeah, but there's many different fabric printing sites. You can create your own fabric. You can just upload your digital images. And I recommend actually doing that as opposed to having your images printed on canvas. And like a lot of people have tried that and worked with it because it doesn't absorb paint. You know, you really need to be able to push the paint in. Because I totally changed the colors, sometimes I change the colors of people. You know, I changed a lot. So the images become the footprint for me to be able to see the final, you know. Everything done in cotton. And their cotton is very high quality, so, you know, it doesn't fray, you know, or it's very minimal. It cuts really beautifully. So, you know, you can cut, I cut out images and then, you know,
It's a digital.
Read, yes.
Yeah, they're usually, but I can send, the link to you, Gwen. Yeah, I haven't, taken the most recent picture, but this is the one that I'm doing. So this is all that, this is my digital image, so this is my signature, uploaded and put on the system. This is, on the still where we should probably pick it up as fire anyway. But I'm using some little of that. She loves Harry Potter. And then this is all commercial. And then that I just cut out. So you just can have so much fun. But I really love working with Travis.
Earlier, I missed it. You said something about ordering swatches.
Yes, you can order swatches, like for instance, if you go to any like e-quilter or any fabric site, a lot of times they will give the opportunity to order a fabric swatch so you can see it. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's what people do. It makes sense because you don't need to have you don't need a whole yard.
And sometimes you just want images.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. I think I have the most fun just buying it. I really do. So this was, I was just, this is the one. So this is a whole lot of cuts. It's crazy. Just because I want people to laugh. But see how little of her face I'm using.
So you can use it without permission.
Right. So these are, this is my piece. This is actually one that I took. And then this is commercial. So this probably is about right now. And then one of the more finished ones So this cut back, and then I did all the but what I did with this is actually so I
collect all the materials
online.
My art is collected.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass around a feedback sheet for people to give feedback about the class and for the art club. I'll let you start. Would you mind walking it around? I really want to. Would you mind walking it around?
Oh.
I might do too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's.
Okay, so now this is watch these up.
And it doesn't have to be. And then those green leaves. Just the, no, just the very center of that, and then just the
In some cases, I might print the
Okay, so you want to, I always want to be a part of it. Generally, I am working on 4 by 6 there.
Is your studio on? Oh, no, you're down.
Yeah, you guys are right. I'm really looking at but the 50 so this is like this is my photo, and this is these little cups are recyclable.
And then get it on. Yep.
All right, so we're gonna kind of start finishing up here, but I had started, I didn't get,
Are you done?
yes. I didn't, get around to this side, but I will, just to show you some of the latest pieces that I'm working on. I think that, Sue did send out, my website, but my website is, now, fully interactive. I have e-commerce, which means I can sell stuff on that site, which is amazing. Took me 2 months to do. I broke my brain, but it is www.bodyworkscreations.com. So it is www.bodyworkscreations.com. We spell body is B as in boy, O-D-D-I-E, works, so bodyworks, creations.com. And generally, if you look up my name, you'll find me, because I do over-market myself, so I'm pretty much everywhere.
Lydia, I think it
Yes.
reminds people, I'm pretty sure that your address is already in the palette that just went out.
Yes.
It's in the back under, you know, it shows under your name.
Yeah, Sam is always good at giving me space in the IAC newsletter. Also, I am on the IAC website, so that's another place to find my pieces. So I know that some of you want to get going. For those of you who want to stay, and you, some of you have started playing with your rocks already, which is really great, like Jane. So basically, the rock is just another substrate. It's just the same kind of thing as your canvas. I will give you a couple of tricks for the rocks. So you want to totally, again, add a lot of glue to the surface of your rock. If there are irregularities in the rock, with your fabric that should also have lots of medium, work it into the rock surface. So in other words, if you got a bumpy rock, work that material in so that it flows with the texture of the rock. once the rock dries, one of the things I like, I don't know, could I have a rock there, Sam? Okay, so one of the things that I found is really effective with the rock, and it sounds probably oversimplified, is to just create an edge, just finish it. Just, border it. Believe it or not, I use, the Sharpie markers or paint, because you're going to seal it anyway with the medium, or you can use spray adhesive. Not adhesive, you can use a spray finish. A lot of times, like Home Depot, Lowe's, they do a spray acrylic finish. That makes it easier. So you're just going to want to add this border on your rock. So your rock would have like a little,
I noticed
just like a finish. Yeah, it's just a finished edge.
So we can cover the little
Yeah. Well, the fabric is neat. I love getting different sizes of rocks. You see, some of them are stacked. And so some, it's really nice to just kind of have a nice background fabric, and then you put a bird on it, or, you can kind of create a little Zen moment with stacked rocks that are fabric covered. So I expect to see at the IEC show an abundance of fabric covered rocks. Because I know you can do it, and I know people buy them. $2, $3, $5, what's that?
Yeah, I saw one.
Well, missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. Everybody can use a couple bucks in their pocket. Or more than I hope for more. Abundance. We speak abundance. Well, what I wanted to try to do, but it may be a little more difficult, is
Look where that fell out perfect.
all right, my chat khakis. I really did want to try to do the same kind of collective quilt experience, if we can, with your collages. So for those of you who can or want to, if we, I don't think we need to do them like 5 across. Why don't we see how randomly they work? Let's try something different. We're not going to be so orderly. Just put your piece down wherever it speaks to you.
Why don't we put the Sharpie first?
Yeah, probably. Are they wet?
Yeah.
Could you each bring your plastic bag, because I got plenty of bags, with your piece and lay it down on the floor? And I've got plenty of more of this to put your piece
Back, ladies.
Okay.
Thank you.
instructor.
Oh, I thought everybody wanted to get their own sheet. Oh, I don't know that. I told Sue I do the whole. Oh, okay. Maybe not.
You can't really see mine, it's so blobby. This stack.
You guys are awesome. This is a lot of
Oh my God, it's not a giraffe, but I can recognize.
I was getting organized. I'm going to teach a class with some And we did it.
Yeah.
We all stepped up. I would like to thank particularly Sue Murphy for, you can't hear me? Sue, I wanted to thank Sue Murphy for all of her support with organizing this class, all the IAC members, the library. This was a really great experience. Thank you.
Yeah, the library has been funding our classes through a grant, that was, received through Samra, how do you say her last name?
Brooke.
So,
Now to tell you how young she is, she went to Pittsburgh Mendon, and I went to Pittsburgh Sutherland before the split. So she's a little younger than I am.
Suggestion, like if you wanted to add like first the metal to it, what's a good cardio?
what's the?
I would like to use a gorilla. Yeah, definitely something that's gonna hold it. Because the medium, unless you really, really do a pour over it and let it dry.
So I would do the medium first and then glue the.
And put the key on
Afterwards?
after, yeah.
Lydia,
Yeah.
if I was.
Definitely anything that's heavy.
I know.
Resort to like a, you know, something that's really cool.
Yeah, I tell you.
I'll be right there.
Yes.
I was just gonna tell you a story.
Oh, Jeanette's gonna tell me a story, so you have a great one.
Thank you so much, and I used to leave.
It was so wonderful. Oh, thank you for coming, thank you. I can't wait to see more of your stuff. Thank you. Keep collaging.
There must be another name for medium.
Oh, you're bad.
You know what? Most people know what medium is. It's really a glue, so it wouldn't really be an art store.